Oh shit, here we go again.
Hello everyone. So today we're talking about Marvel's top singer, actress, and dancer. And of course, we're referring to the character known as Dazzler. Dazzler's first appearance was the Uncanny X-Men number 130 of February 1980 and was created by Tom DeFalco and John Romita Jr. Dazzler was originally conceived in early 1979 as a joint venture between Marvel Comics and Casablanca Records, a subsidiary of Universal Music Group that had achieved considerable success with notable disco acts including Donna Summer and Village People. Initially designing her as African American, heavily based on singer-actress Grace Jones, with a costume inspired by the skin-tight and revealing evening wear he had seen on women at New York nightclubs. Her name was changed, first to Disco Dazzler and then to simply Dazzler, and initially her powers were to make people tell the truth. Now, the story as we know it, Allison Blair was born in Gardendale, New York, to Carter Blair and Catherine Blair. Her mutant powers first manifest when she was in junior high school. An aspiring singer, she volunteers to perform at her school dance when her light-generating abilities first appear. Everyone at the dance assumes it's a stage lighting effect, which is an assumption most people made before she actually reveals herself to be a mutant later on in life. Using the name Dazzler, Allison sets out to make a name for herself in the music industry, using her light powers and dancing ability to enhance her performances. It is at one of her shows that Allison first meets the X-Men while they were attacked by the mutant group, the Hellfire Club. Angry at the interruption, Allison lashes out at the Hellfire intruders, unintentionally making one member catatonic. Now, she had always assumed that the life as a disco queen would be exciting, but finds that the fight with the X-Men's enemies going a little bit too far, and turns down their offer to join the team. Now, Dazzler hid her status as a mutant from all but those closest to her. After acquainting herself with the various superheroes, Allison finds herself continuously using her abilities to fight average criminals and rogue superhumans, often at the expense of her career ambitions. On one occasion, she meets Spider-Man, teaming up against the Light Master. On another occasion, she battles and defeats the Hulk. She also has a romantic affair with Warren Worthington III, which is the X-Man Angel. In the course of her adventures, she even encounters Galactus, who initially thought she was little import and generally ignores her. Nevertheless, Galactus temporarily endows her with cosmic energy so she could retrieve the herald Terrax. Allison was also asked to audition for a place in the Avengers, but she declined, saying that the superhero life was of no interest to her. Now, Dazzler moves to Los Angeles in a vain attempt to help her half-sister, Lois London, who has the mutant power to kill anyone with a single touch, but has little to no control over that ability. While in Los Angeles, Allison attempts careers in fitness training, dancing, modeling, and acting. Now, during her tenure with the X-Men, Dazzler received training and attains greater control over her powers and develops a romance with the extra-dimensional mutant Longshot. Now, later on, she's discovered in an amnesic state washed up on a beach. She was nursed back to health by Guido and Lila, though their efforts proved unsuccessful in helping restore her memory. Her memory, however, was eventually restored when she was found by Longshot some time later. Allison then, once healthy, ventured to Longshot's native dimension, Mojo World, joining in a rebellion against the tyrant Mojo. Now, Allison's life on Mojo World was tough. She suffered an apparent miscarriage and the apparent corruption of the X-babies before returning to Earth without Longshot. Despite this, Dazzler helped Jean Grey fight against Magneto on Genosha. She was apparently incinerated by Magneto, but was actually alive and well, having used a hard light hologram of herself to distract Magneto while he recovered Professor X. Now, years later, Shatterstar and Richter encountered a past version of Dazzler while time traveling through Mojo World. At this point in her life, Dazzler and Longshot were still married and active in the revolt against Mojo. Richter discovered Dazzler just as she was about to give birth to the child that had been believed to result in a miscarriage. The surviving infant was revealed to be Shatterstar. Now, Shatterstar revealed the reason for wiping both her and Longshot's memories of the event and taking his infant self a century into Mojo World's future to be raised as a warrior away from his birth parents. Now, Dazzler later reestablished her musical career by marketing her original signature disco image as part of the techno-trance genre. Allison moved her career to England and joined the X-Men allies such as the Juggernaut and Captain Britain. Later, she was reunited with Longshot, and although he later regained his feelings for her, he was suffering from amnesia and didn't really remember her. Longshot left the Exiles to reestablish a relationship with her, but they soon parted ways, due in part to Dazzler's frustration with other women's attraction to Longshot and the realization that Longshot is no longer the man she loved. Allison rejoined the X-Men while continuing her revived musical career. Later, she took part in the fight against the Skrull invasion of Earth. After a night of drinking with teammates Northstar and Pixie, Dazzler came under attack by the Sisterhood. In retaliation, she was later accompanied by Emma Frost, Storm, and Karma in an attack on the Sisterhood in San Francisco, where she engaged in a mind-controlled Psylocke in battle. While Psylocke gained the upper hand, Dazzler absorbed all the sound from the city outside, which he then turned into a beam of light that burned the right side of Psylocke's face completely off. Along with Gambit, Anole, Northstar, Cannonball, Pixie, and Trance, Dazzler traveled to Limbo to rescue Magic. However, once there, they were overwhelmed by the demons. Now, she was rescued by Northstar, but they came under attack by a possessed Gambit, who turns her into a state much like Gambit's death persona. They eventually infected the other X-Men in Limbo, however they were freed thanks to Magic's Soul Sword. During the divide between Cyclops and Wolverine, Dazzler was asked to lead a street team of X-Men, to which she agreed. As a result, she worked alongside Boom Boom and Lifeguard. Dazzler was then later summoned to Utopia to help Cyclops and Danger with a ghost box. When opened, it showed several alternate reality X-Men fighting an evil version of Professor X. She subsequently gets sucked through a portal and is whisked away from Earth 616, narrowly avoiding the conflict between the X-Men and the Avengers. She becomes team leader after Emmeline Frost opts to stay on a world where mutants are considered gods. Her leadership skills and abilities impress both Cyclops and Wolverine, so much so that they offered a position at the Jean Grey School, believing she would be an invaluable resource to all the students. Now, in an attempt to better understand the mutant community, Maria Hill personally asked Dazzler to become an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., a proposition Allison actually accepts. However, soon after her first mission, Dazzler was poisoned and replaced by the shapeshifter Mystique. Dazzler was later rescued by Magneto and joined Cyclops' uncanny X-Men team. Now later, while participating in a roller derby in Miami, Dazzler was approached by Singularity, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, Nico Minoru, and Medusa to help them defeat Antimatter, since they required a powerful light source to defeat their foe. They attempted to negotiate with Antimatter, but Dazzler was critically injured and died on the operating table. She woke up following the failed operations, realized it seemed like she was unable to die, and rejoined the fight against Antimatter in time to take Singularity into a pocket dimension to protect her from dying when Antimatter was destroyed. Singularity sensed something else had broken through into their universe. Teleporting to Astoria, Oregon, they found the Dimension Hoppers were Dazzler Thor, which is an alternative version of Dazzler from Battleworld, and her opponent Countess. Now the Countess vanished following her defeat, and A-Force took Dazzler Thor to get Ale, Dazzler revealed to her alternative self that she had accidentally come into contact with Terrigen Mist and contracted Mpox, which sterilizes and kills mutants. Dazzler woke up alongside the rest of A-Force in a jail cell, without any powers. Nico appears under the mind control and was made to send She-Hulk into a murderous rage, but they used this to escape. Dazzler Thor used a hologram to get close to the Countess, who attacked and injured her. Dazzler picked up Lightbringer to defend her, but after the battle, Dazzler Thor succumbed to the Mpox virus and died in a flash of light. Dazzler then revealed to the rest of A-Force that she also had the lethal disease, and left behind Lightbringer in respect for her fallen alternative self. During the second superhero civil war, Dazzler went with Captain Marvel to fight Thanos. Shortly afterwards, Ulysses predicted that Nico would murder an innocent woman named Alice. Dazzler disagreed with Captain Marvel, who wanted to preemptively arrest her teammate and warn Nico when she arrived. Nico then escaped, with Dazzler and Singularity opposing Captain Marvel and Medusa's decision to hunt her down. They followed the pair to Arizona, where Nico is hiding with Elsa Bloodstone, and find it overrun by an infection turning people into a swarm of giant bugs. After a brief confrontation when the rest of A-Force find Nico, they split into two teams, one to find Alice and the other to protect the civilians. While searching for Alice in an abandoned mine, Danvers, Minoru, and Bloodstone are attacked by a giant bug. The bug incapacitates Danvers and Bloodstone before telepathically communicating to Minoru that she is Alice and has been inadvertently infecting the townspeople after her transformation. Alice tells Minoru that killing her is the only way to save the people. When Minoru refuses, an infected Bloodstone threatens to kill Danvers. Medusa, Singularity, and an infected Dazzler are overrun by bugs and regroup with the others just as Bloodstone infects Danvers. Now after Dazzler infects Medusa, Minoru casts a spell to transform Alice back into a human, but it does not cure the rest of the populace. Alice explains that she must be killed, and Minoru reluctantly casts a death spell on Alice, which transforms the infected back into humans. Alice then reemerges in her final form and tells A-Force that she is no longer a threat, as she now has greater control of her powers. Now during the war between the X-Men and the Inhumans, Dazzler assisted Emma Frost in the beginning of her plot to defeat the Inhumans, disguising herself as an Inhuman performer shortly before ambushing Black Bolt in his own quiet room. Now later, she was one of many mutants who had taken up residence in the newly established island nation of Krakoa. Now as far as powers and abilities go with this character, Dazzler is a mutant with the ability to transduce sonic vibrations which reach her body into various types of light. This ability seems to operate over a great range of frequencies, including the audible spectrum, and a great variation of sound pressure levels regardless of complexity, dissonance, or randomness of the sound. Sounds as different as a car crash and a symphonic passage both produce convertible incoming acoustic vibrations. Dazzler prefers utilizing the sound of music, particularly that which is rhythmically sustained. Not only is music more pleasant to her ears, but the steady beat of contemporary music provides a more constant source of sound to convert. Dazzler has been shown to create a, quote, null space of sound in a certain radius of her own person, to either protect a crowd of people or to just supercharge her power reserves. Now left undirected, Dazzler's light will radiate from her body in all directions, producing regular flashes of white light. By conscious control over the light she produces, she can control its direction, frequency, amplitude, and duration. She can create simple patterns out of rays of light, or combinations of patterns which produce trance-like effects in her targets. She can even create a pulse of light on the order of several thousand watts of power, which temporarily blinds people with its brilliance. She can create a cascade of sparkling lights and colors that severely upsets other people's equilibrium. She can also radiate light in gentle, soothing patterns to calm a person's mood. Dazzler can generate a coherent beam of light, approximating a laser beam, or generate a shield from laser energy. Dazzler has polarizing eyes and cannot be blinded or dazed by any type of light. She can create holograms of human beings and other three-dimensional beings and objects. She can also turn herself temporarily invisible and inaudible. She can also use light energy to generate some form of propulsion for flight or at least rapid ascent. She normally shoots lasers from a single finger when she requires precise targeting, but she still can use other parts of her body. The most powerful manifestation of her abilities thus far is a concentrated stream of solid photons that is fired from her index finger. The beam is extremely powerful and as a consequence uses up all of her energy. She can even stretch the electromagnetic spectrum to produce devastating microwave energy. Dazzler's costume contains devices that allow her to store sonic energy more efficiently and focus the light she generates with greater accuracy. Her ears are highly developed, allowing her to detect sounds on frequencies that others cannot even register. She even demonstrates the ability to use sound waves for echolocation before absorbing them for energy. Dazzler is also immune to the powers of her half-sister Mortis, which ordinarily kills subjects instantly. With considerable strain, Dazzler is capable of generating ultraviolet light in omnidirectional waves of such intensity that it can melt metal buildings. Dazzler is highly skilled as an athlete and hand-to-hand combatant, able to defeat a dozen human combatants at once while purposefully avoiding use of any of her mutant abilities. In addition, she is considered a talented singer, actress, and dancer. And of course, Dazzler is also a highly accomplished roller skater and can move at high speed. She is even skilled enough on those skates to use those skates as weapons. We really enjoy this character. This character is a really fun character, and when you dive into the abilities of Dazzler, you realize that she might actually qualify as an Omega level mutant. And the reason why we say this is because anywhere she goes, she could take out anyone close to her. And as far as we're concerned, we don't really see any kind of top on it. If the character Dazzler really wanted it, she could probably take over the entire Marvel Universe. Anyway, you guys have a good night, a great morning, a wonderful evening, whichever. Please like, share, and subscribe. We really do appreciate that. Also, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this video. Maybe write down below what character you would like to have shown on this channel, and we'll see what we can do. As always, Excelsior.
Hello, monkeys!